You can't change people. This is something that I wish I knew sooner. I wish it hit me. I wish I had better clarity with this when I was younger to realize that you genuinely cannot change someone. No matter what you do, no matter how bad you want to fix them, help them, change them, develop them, whatever it is, you genuinely cannot change someone. I think the hardest thing with this right here, and we're going to get a little deep here, we're going to get a little emotional. So get prepared here, okay? We're getting deep. So for me, we'll talk about me first. One of the key figures in my life when it came to progressing as an individual. So I feel like for most of us, when we're 13, 14, 15, 16, that range, very important years that kind of help shape who we are. As most of you know, I was really into boxing, okay? I had my boxing gym. I was constantly fighting there, and I was there every single day, consistently. You guys already know that, so we're getting into a more deep story here. We're going to talk specifically about my boxing coach, okay? I was 14. He came to the gym. Basically, he had struggled his whole life. He was a former amateur boxer. He's pretty successful at it. Then he had plenty of struggles. You know, he went through some legal trouble, a lot of substance abuse issues, that kind of thing, the whole realm. Basically, he was starting to get back on his feet, and he found our boxing gym. He came in first as kind of an assistant coach, and then everyone started to realize, you know, he was legit. He was sparring. He started to get back in shape. He started working out with us because that's when he was originally an assistant, working out with all of us, just taking it day by day. And then he progressed into, you know, who he was before, to a little bit of age, you know what I'm saying? But everyone saw who he was. They knew who he was. And before you know it, he was the main guy. But me and him, you know, I would just stay after class and we would just talk about things, talk about life, his life, my life, and a lot of issues that his family had, I had experienced firsthand as well. So because of that right there, we kind of developed this whole connection or basically just because of our age. You know, he was, I think, 29 and I was 14. So he was kind of like an older brother, that kind of thing. You know, it wasn't a parent talking down to you or lecturing you. He was simply just an older cousin, that kind of thing. And we would just talk. I feel like he was just one that always listened to me and could relate to me. And I felt like at a time that I was struggling, I felt like I had no voice and I had no one to really hear me out and understand what I was going through. He was able to guide me and he was able to help me. And it was an important connection. And then mind you, we're boxing 24/7. He's constantly training me. I remember one night, it was awesome. It was like a Friday night. We stayed after. We hit mitts for like 2 hours straight. It's one of the best memories. It was one of the coolest memories of my life. Like it was 2 hours straight, just talking, mitts, back and forth, just me and him having a great time in the gym. Long story short, though, he's on pace to own the gym, and then he ends up having a relapse. Obviously, I'm not going to get too deep into that right there. And mind you, this is a guy who, like, to me, had the whole world in his hands. And it breaks my heart because we were friends on social media, obviously. And when I looked at his profiles before, I remember I saw from like 2012, he talked about his dream of owning a boxing gym. And mind you, that was like 11 years before I knew him. So he was 18, close to my age now. And that was his dream, was to own a boxing gym. And now he was a guy who, you know, was at the rock bottom. Okay, he was at the bottom. He had a girlfriend now. He had a whole gym around him. Like, everyone loved him. He was the guy. Like, I love the guy. He was awesome. To this day, one of my favorite people I've ever met, and one of the people that had the biggest impact on me in my life ever, hands down. And he was helping me with my struggles, where everyone was kind of not realizing or couldn't see that he was struggling as well because he was holding it together so well. But like, this is a guy who had his dreams in the palm of his hand. Like I said, he was on pace to own the gym, which was his dream. That's why I say it broke my heart, because like that was his dream. It's what he wanted, and he had it right there. And he ends up relapsing and goes down to just the same habits as before, the same addictive habits, and eventually got so bad he got kicked out of the gym. And then 2 months after, he ended up passing away. We had one last talk on the phone, texting, and then the very next day he passes away. I'm at the gym and I find out, and that was one of the saddest things. But like, to me, what that taught me was, because like, obviously it was way hard, like attending his funeral and just talking to everyone in his life. Obviously for them it was way worse than what I had. I'm not saying I had some, like, it hurt, but obviously I knew him for like 3 years, and I mean, we had a good relationship. But when it goes deeper than, you know, girlfriends and parents and that kind of thing, I think it's like when you have so much love for someone, because this can be on a smaller scale where it's someone that just simply can't get their act together. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you love them, you're dating them, and they just can't stop talking to other girls or talking to other guys. And it's like, you see the good in them, but the bad's kind of there and they can't stop it. Or maybe they just have issues with like lack of discipline, or, you know what I'm saying? It can be way smaller things than like substance abuse. It doesn't have to just be that right there. But I think it can be anything small or grand, like any kind of issue someone has where you think you can change them and you can fix them. It just genuinely doesn't work, because someone can only change if they want to change. You can take someone and you can stick them in the most expensive rehab possible with state-of-the-art doctor, state-of-the-art therapies, everything, everything possible, state of the art, best, most expensive thing possible. But no matter what you do, you can't make them stop unless they actually want to stop, because you can get them clean. You can get them through withdrawals, whatever. They finally get out. If they want to go back to doing what they were doing previously, they can just go do it. It's that's why like addiction really is a disease, because it corrupts your mind. And it's like you can only change if you first want to make that change. I'm saying by no means that people should be abandoned. I'm simply saying for us though, if you're on the sidelines, it can become so difficult for your own mental health, because people can only change when they want to change. And if you get in a relationship thinking you're going to fix someone, or you befriend someone and you think you can fix someone, or someone's going through an issue and you try to like help and intervene, don't get me wrong, your support is crucial. Your support is so helpful, and you're amazing for that. And I respect you for it. It's just for your own sanity too. You have to realize that like you can push them, and like you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can help them. You can take all the steps for them and help them get to that water. But if they don't want to drink, there's nothing you can do. You cannot like open their mouth and force them to drink water. It's their own decision. It's their own will. I think that cliche is corny. It's simple, but it really is so truthful, because it helps people. It helps them to get to that water. It makes it way easier. It makes the journey way easier than them having to hike miles to get to this water to finally drink. But if they don't want to drink, they're not going to. And for us on the sidelines, like I said, it's just something you have to remember, you have to pay attention to, is that nothing you can really do can force someone to change. Be there, support, and help. But if you ever get in a relationship or a friendship or any kind of relationship thinking that you can force someone to become someone they're not currently, it's not guaranteed. And you need to understand that, and you need to remember that right there, because it will save you years. It will save you energy, because you can look around. There are genuinely marriages of people that have been together for 20, 30, 40 years, where they think they thought they could have changed the person in the beginning. And then it just developed over time, where then they have this like trauma bond of trying to work through things together. And don't get me wrong, these people, they can be great people. They can have good hearts and good intentions and just be kind of corrupted and led astray. But for you to be attached to this story, for you to be attached to this horse who refuses to drink water, it will simply lead you to this world of ups and downs and stress and pain and all these things. Because people that can't get their act together fully, we can love them, we can appreciate them, we can have gratitude for them and respect them. But if you tie your emotions so closely and invest in them so hard, it can ultimately usually lead you to just sad times, awful times, depressed times, stressful times. I'm trying to remind you overall that you cannot force someone to change. You can help them, you can guide them, you can support them and be there for them. But if they're not changing over and over again, eventually you have to prioritize yourself, because you have to remember that you are here for yourself as well. Just because someone else is struggling doesn't mean that you can't also be struggling simultaneously. They're not mutually exclusive. If you're struggling, if you're in pain, if it's stressing you out, you need to sometimes choose yourself, prioritize yourself, and realize that it's not always your job, that you're living your own life and you have your own problems and your own things to deal with. And if they're doing things that are constantly wrong and issues, especially if they're disrespecting you, if we're talking about like a relationship here, you need to walk away or get space or distance, and just realize that no matter what someone's really gone through, no matter how many struggles they've had, no matter how many downs and ups, they don't have the right, or they don't have some kind of grant to treat you awfully or treat you wrong or manipulate you, because that's not how it works. You deserve to be treated well, respected, and cared about. That's how it is for every single person in this world. So remember that right there. You cannot force someone to change. And sometimes you need to choose yourself for your own sanity, for your own well-being, and for your own mental health. So be careful out there. You cannot force someone to change. I want the best for you guys. I'm always out here trying to drop any kind of wisdom, any kind of mindset shift that I can give you guys to hopefully brighten your day, week, month, and maybe even year. If you like the video, subscribe. It means so much to me. Subscribing helps so much. I'm trying to hit 500 by the end of July. We're at like 320 right now. So let's get it. I'll see you guys.